On this episode of Inner Light, we are joined by Samantha Kane, holistic life coach and founder of Roots Wings Wellness. With years of experience guiding people through intuitive coaching, shadow work, and soul aligned strategies, Samantha helps conscious souls reconnect with their higher selves and live with authentic freedom. Today, she'll share why spirituality isn't just a concept for retreats or quiet moments. It's a daily practice that can transform how we live, love, and lead. Welcome to the show, Samantha. It's an honor to have you.
Hi, Anya. Thank you for having me on. I'm so happy to be here with you today.
Mhm. So, Samantha, you speak about spirituality as something to weave into daily life. Why do you believe it's so important to keep it close, not just occasionally, but every day?
I believe it's important to keep spirituality close because we are spiritual light beings. And it's very easy as a human being to deter away from that with emotion. It gets in the way of, emotion is a beautiful tool, but it also gets in the way of why we're really here and our purpose and who we're being in all our choices and all our living moments. And truly, spirituality is what made us, what keeps our spirit alive, or what keeps our soul alive, rather. And so it's something to be so in tune with so that we can make better choices and so that we can live a deeper, more engaged, more present daily life. And if we're not paying attention to it, if we're not bringing awareness to it, if we're living unconsciously and we are not in tune with the thoughts we have, the words we say, the things we do, then we are not allowing the spirit side of us to stay connected with our soul. And the most important takeaway here is because our soul is not in, well, this gets confusing because people say it in different ways. It's like, is your soul in your body or is your body in your soul? And really, what we've all come to understand is your body is in your soul. So the soul being is what is the most impressive, important, essential uh, thing to acknowledge here in this space, in this lifetime. But when you break it down to daily practice, um, it's very easy to get away from all that. So that's why the daily duties that you keep fresh for yourself, all even the smallest things, even just intentional breathing really helps us stay connected. At the end of the day, connection to our spirituality is of the utmost importance.
Yeah, definitely. And was there a personal moment that showed you the difference between sometime spirituality and daily spirituality?
Uh, I don't know. I can't think off at the top of my head if there was a moment, but I'm sure there was. There's really just, and that's a good question. There's so many moments really. And that really ties into the first question because it's just awareness. It's a self-awareness to have reflection. Um, it's bringing an alignment with a little bit of the past or enough of it aligned with the present moment, and then having excitement and curiosity around the future rather than fear. And when we live like this, we're more able to adapt to these practices. And for me, I've always been a spiritual person. I've always felt connected to something greater than myself. So I don't want to say necessarily that this comes easily for me because, again, it is a practice and it's something you have to be conscious of. But for anybody that doesn't really do this so much, it is something that everyone should be looking into and affiliating themselves with. Otherwise, it's like we go through life like we're machines, and we're not, because specific events happen to us, the good, the bad, the ugly, all the in between, for a reason. There's purpose behind everything. It's to invite us into lessons to see what the big picture is. What are we supposed to know? What are we supposed to feel around this? What are we supposed to learn about ourselves and who we're being in these moments? So, it goes really deep, and if we're not paying attention and noticing what we're supposed to understand out of these moments, then a lot is lost on us. So, I know, sorry, I'm not really answering this particular question well because I can't grasp onto a memory of a specific moment. I know I've had them, but but I just know the feeling, and that's what is most important as the takeaway with this. It's feeling into where we are supposed to have acknowledgement in where we're going and ensure that we have the right footing in our choices and we're making the right decisions for ourselves, that they are aligned with our higher self and all for the greater good as well.
Yeah, and that's a truth many of us can feel. Like we are different people when we carry spirit with us into the everyday.
Yes, absolutely. And it's kind of a bummer that a lot of people don't attune to this side. And I say this side kind of ironically and with humor because it's not a side, it's really who we are. It's the essence of the nature of us. Human beings are really soul beings, but because we don't get to see with our eyes the unseen parts of who we we get a little, like, is this really happening, or why is this happening, or we tend to get confused a little bit more easily. We go about things with massive stress, and we see hardships of as failures when oftentimes they're not necessarily that. Sometimes they are just part of the ride, taking you to show you things that maybe you ought not have thought about before. And so this experience is more of an invitation in the way that I see it. It's a slew of offerings for us. And yet a lot of people that don't tap into this, into the nature of who they are, like I say, they miss out on a lot, but they're also um they dampen their spirit. They don't they are disconnected in their relationships and in business and home life and so on. And so they question so much, why isn't this working out for me? Or why is this so hard? Why is this particular thing always a challenge? Why do I suffer so much? But that's part of the human experience. So you can play this game of life like you're a victim, or you can walk with a smile and your head up, feeling all the wonderful, natural, organic, beautiful messages that are around always for us, that the universe is always offering us, for us to connect with something deeper within ourselves. And instead of this space where it's a more shallow, hard to breathe time living here on Earth. So there's definitely a higher way, a deeper way to expand yourself into living here, and daily practice, as you put it, in this initial part of the conversation here, is really a wonderful way to induce thriving in your life instead of just being on survival mode all the time.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And a lot of people say that they don't have time for spiritual practice. How do you help clients overcome that belief?
Oh, yes, I definitely help people with this. I've helped myself with it, and that's actually one of the great ways that I help people is through my own experience. You can get a degree in something, I have many. You can get a certification, I have those too. Um, all that being said, there is nothing like personal experience to know that you've been through it. And although the next human being standing next to you is not the same as you, the feeling is there, the feeling of it. And that says something. It actually says a lot. This is a great way that I help my clients when people tend to make excuses, and they do often, and we all have, and a lot of us continue to stay on that train as a very low level habit, myself included. I will bag myself up here as well and throw myself into the wolves with this, because I did this a lot. And so when people are saying I don't have time for this, what they should be switching gears with is a mindset. It's a mind frame, rewiring your mental state into a clearer, cleaner space of calm, and knowing that there's a difference in an excuse rather than saying I can't do this, I don't have time. Instead of that, if we switch gears and we make it in a way where it's a I it's not that I don't have time, it's that I want to make time for this and I just haven't made it yet, or something to that effect. It's our creation, the way that we design our life, the way that we structure it, and we have choice, and we also have responsibility to ourselves to prioritize what is most important and the utmost essential parts of our own personal lives. So something that you might not have time for, maybe I make time for because that's important to me and I want to prioritize that. So again, it's just a mindset switch. And I've helped a lot of people with this actually, because it truly is a habit, and any habit can be changed, in my belief. I've done it many times myself with very, very difficult, challenging habits I've gotten myself out of. And then also kind of the sillier ones where you're just like, why am I doing this for years and years? This is crazy. I don't know why I'm still in this loop. But that's what it is. It's you're caught in something, you're acting like this is the only way, and it's until you put a little bit more focus on it and reprioritize and organize what is the most important, then you will actually be able to create a sustainable change in a healthier, more elevated way in your life instead.
Mm-hmm, 100%. But what's one small, simple practice someone can start today?
One simple practice, you mean just in general, as far as a spiritual practice for like daily mindfulness kind of thing?
Mm-hmm. For like beginners that they can start with?
Yes, absolutely. I always revert back naturally to the basics, and one of the basics is breath. And even though it's something that sounds so common, obviously, because we have to breathe to stay alive, right? But the practice of breath is not something that enough people partake in. And there's a lot of different breathing techniques. Um, I personally like box breathing. It's a 4-4-4. It's you um, take a deep breath in from your belly for 4 seconds. You hold it for 4 seconds. You release it for 4 seconds. And then you pause for 4 seconds and then you start again. And so it's a circular breath. There's different types of breathing techniques out there. There's 3-5-7. There's a whole bunch. But to begin, I like to not confuse people because I've had people say 3-5-7. I'm having a hard time remembering. And that's also for people that are used to not shallow breathing so much. So for the people that are beginning, that tend to just go through life shallow breathing, especially for people that live in chronic stress or are very tapped into high amounts of anxiety much of the time. The box breathing is great. And if you have any kind of health conditions that this deemed, you know, extra challenging, you can even take it a step down and do it for, 3 seconds, 3-3-3. So it's really about paying attention to your body, and if your mind says, I can't do it, I can't do this, and whatever that applies to, even just the breathing technique that you start, your mind starts wondering, you are in a moment of anxiety. This is precisely the moment that you do need something like this. Um, when we are in a moment we're going against the grain and we're struggling, it's it really is key and an essential pocket of time to ensure that you calm down even more. I forget the saying, but there's well, there's multiple sayings about, when it's about meditation and about how if you are stressed out, you need it even more. Because oftentimes people just think, meditation or breathing tools are for people that just like to calm down and or just relax, like it's a spa. And I would like to debunk that myth because that's what it is. It's not something that is like people believe that self-care is something that's like a luxury, and it's not. It's a requirement, just like breath work. And this is why, depending on who I'm working with my clients, depending on what their lifestyle looks like. I mean, I work with a lot of people that have anxiety. As a mother, I went through very big bouts of darkness and anxiety myself. And so I really started to put this into practice. And I will tell you firsthand, it's so immensely helpful just to allow all the cells of your body to breathe and to send different signals to those cells and to let yourself lighten up, let your body feel light. Oftentimes our chest is tense, our gut is tense, and again, these are the moments that we're going to miss out on. We're going to miss out on our intuition. We're going to miss out on messages from the universe. We're going to miss out on what our real inner voice is trying to tell us when we are so tightly wound. And there's no escaping feelings of anxiety and stress. You can't just take it away altogether. So it's like, what do I offer myself in these moments? And the more you practice it and let it become, even if it's not daily, close to daily as possible, then you will really, really integrate a deeper calm and peace into your life.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And that makes spirituality accessible, like a thread woven into life, not another item on a checklist.
Correct. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, we can put things in our calendar and say, I have to, okay, it's, Wednesday, I have to do this, I have to do that. And it is important to have structure and to have organization in your life, but it's also important to have a natural sense of stability for yourself that you don't really have to think about it. You just know that you should do it because it's a feeling. And that's why the breath is so important, because when you are in a hyper tense moment and your body is all in knots and twisted up, and you might even be making a fist with your hands and you don't even know it. It's bringing an unconsciousness into your life, and it's not a good place to make decisions from. And these are decisions that you can be consciously making or unconsciously making. But why wouldn't you want to make them consciously, right? So it really does elevate your life's experience, of course, in an obvious way. You want to have a proper, lighthearted mindset when you're making decisions in your life. And when you literally and physically breathe life into yourself, into your body, back into your mind, when you let yourself unwind a little bit and decompress. And again, it's not like, self love and self care is a luxury. It is a requirement. It's something that we must do so that we can live with more authority over our own lives, and design our life in a way that we actually get to enjoy the experience here, which is the point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And what a beautiful and grounding conversation with Samantha Kane. She's shown us that spirituality isn't something distant or rare. It's a daily companion, practice that keeps us rooted in love, aligned with purpose, and connected to our higher self. If today's exchange touched you, try bringing one simple practice into your day and notice how it shifts your inner light. And don't forget, share this with someone who could use the reminder that spirituality belongs in the everyday moments too.